Passengers across the country will face severe travel disruption as train managers from the Avanti West Coast train line walk out over a rest day pay dispute.
Yes, the strikes are set to last months after today's walkout. Further action is planned for every Sunday, starting next weekend until the end of May. Oh, when you see those pages flip by, it looks like it's go on forever, isn't it? So Travel Alerts was a warning this could impact up to roughly 100,000 passengers per day of action.
Yeah.
So every time 100,000 passengers. Oh, my God.
But since many key workers, such as police officers, are not allowed to strike, should rail workers also be banned from striking? Joining us to discuss this are former Conservative MP and criminal barrister Gerry Hayes and political journalist and author James Bloodworth. Thanks, both of you, for joining us. You know, on the face of it, when I saw this debate yesterday arrive in our inbox, there was this, you think, oh, okay, we're just doing this for debate's sake. But actually, no, I think there is a real issue here because other countries, Germany, Romania, they've implemented bans on lots of people in public services. Here we do already with prison staff and police staff. And actually, a lot of people will use this train line. This goes from London all the way up to Birmingham, Manchester and beyond into Scotland. So a lot of people will be affected. So you're thinking that, yes, it's absolutely right that we should ban railway staff from striking at all?
Well, we should certainly consider it.
Right.
The trouble is the government will cave in because it's the trade unions. And it's taxpayers' money. This is £300. Now the government say, yeah, we're tough on pensioners. Isn't that a magic figure? £300. That's what the pensioners are going to be denied in their winter fuel payment. Tough on small businesses, tough on farmers, tough on family businesses, but not tough on the unions. Look, I believe in the right to strike. I went on strike 2 years ago as a criminal barrister, and we are not paid terribly well. We are not talking about people who are on the minimum wage. Train managers get about £45,000 a year. Train drivers get considerably more. We're talking about, for a rest day, you get £300 on top of what you're being paid already. How many people in this studio get £300 a day? Well, you two do. You may, depending on what books you're selling. But that's the reality of it. We're not dealing with low-paid people. A lot of people would love to have £45,000 a year.
Well, of course they would, but there's also, you know, payment for a responsible job. I mean, do you think it's come to the point where, like police officers, those working on the railways are such an important artery for our economy and our lives, shouldn't be allowed to strike?
No, I don't, because I think that argument can just go on. So, I mean, we could say that, you know, refuse collectors should be banned from striking. Junior barristers who went on strike last year, and I supported them, that they should be banned from striking. I don't think you should go down that road of saying that anyone who ever causes any kind of inconvenience should be banned from striking. Strikes do cause inconvenience. That's supposed to put pressure on the higher-ups in Avanti to then come to the negotiating table. I mean, train managers work 41 hours a week. They're asking for £300 when they're being asked to come into work on their days off. And I don't think that's unreasonable when the chief executive of First Group, which owns Avanti, received £1.4 million in pay last year. Shareholders received £8 million in dividends. And users of Avanti already face disruption. Only 45% of their trains turn up on time. 8% of their trains last year were cancelled. That's far more journeys.
It's making it worse, James. It's making it worse. It's not going to help the poor person who wants to get to work or the granny who wants to see her grandchildren on a Sunday and can't do it.
Well, Avanti should come to the table then. If they think it's such a problem to be short-staffed, they should employ more full-time staff so that people aren't being brought into work on their days off.
Avanti offered time and a quarter. So there have been negotiations, but the shareholder, the owners, the real owners, are the government, and they'll cave in. This started, actually, by Louise Hay.
A private company, though. I mean, they're owned partly by the Italian government. We're not allowed to own them, our government, apparently, but the Italian government owns them.
They are paid for by the taxpayer. They get a lump sum every...
Yeah.
They're subsidised.
But not as much as the shareholders and the CEO.
That's another issue.
Why are we not protesting
the specifics of Avanti, but we're talking generally here, though.
Sure.
I mean, you know, I was just trying to find out here. So basically what Avanti are saying is that they will run one train per hour between Euston and Wolverhampton. Now, you're saying that there shouldn't be a complete ban at all, but could there be a partial sort of strike? Like, for example, in Romania, they don't allow railway staff to strike, but if they do, they say a third of the service must still be in operation. Would you welcome something like that?
No, I mean, I don't think we should get our transport policy from a country like Romania. If you look at France and Germany, like Germany has, you mentioned some strikes are outlawed, not on trains though. Germany and France have much superior trains than we have in this country, as do Italy. They haven't banned strikes on the trains, which suggests the problem on our railways is not about strikes, it's something else, you know?
Yeah, but it's
the fact that 45% of trains are not coming on, only 45% of Avanti trains are on time, that has nothing to do with strikes. That's to do with incompetence in management. And 12 billion from the government each year for a poor service.
But are you saying then, this is going to happen every Sunday, let's say a nurse is travelling from Stockport to Manchester. I've done that Avanti train. It's you quite feasible. You could be living in Stockport, but at a hospital working in Manchester, you can't get a bus for whatever reason. You haven't got a car of your own. Are you saying then it's OK that because of these strikes, that nurse can't get to work at a hospital? That's just something the company's going to have to... The country is just going to have to soak up.
I'm not saying it's OK. I mean, inconvenience is
well, it's not an inconvenience. That's life-threatening,
but that 8% of journeys are not happening already because of the train company. That's nothing to do with strikes. Why are we not protesting? Should we ban the companies, the executives, from receiving this remuneration when they can't run a proper service?
But James,
why are we not talking about that? Why are we just talking about the strike?
James, we're talking about Sundays. See what happens in April, because that's when the ASLEF deal, 4.5 inflation busting, comes to an end. What do you think is going to happen there? At the end of the day, Mick Lynch is a very good negotiator, and he's doing the very best he can, which is his job. I wish, he would look after the barristers, the criminal barristers. He's really good at what he does. And he's going to push, and he's going to push and push. But for fairly well-paid people, it really isn't right. And I don't think the public will stand for it.
Isn't that the responsibility of those they're negotiating with, in that case? Taking away the power for somebody to strike, why should it be placed on the burden on the person not to strike? Shouldn't it just be better negotiating on the other side?
Well, I'm all in favour of that. And we know there's been negotiation going on, but the people who hold the purse strings are the government.
Yeah.
And there was a deal, actually, which caused this as a problem. Louise Haigh, I think, the transport minister with the red hair, who went for all sorts of reasons, she said, right, for a short period of time, cross-country, you're going to get 300 quid. It was a short term. And everyone says, whoa, if they're getting 300 quid, senior people in Avanti getting 500 quid, we want it now. Hang on, this is just lunacy and wrong.
But isn't it also lunacy that then you have the chief exec of the company paying himself 1.4 million, shareholders paying themselves dividends of 8.1 million, and yet they can only run a service 45% of the time? Why are we not angry about that rather than strikes which affect fewer days than the train cancellations?
I think everyone is angry. I'm going to have a problem.
We don't hear about that. There are no proposals for laws to ban that kind of remuneration for failure.
I think it's worth considering. I think it's well. I don't think. I mean, for the government, sort of the last government, and they were pretty incompetent. But compared to this lot, some of them were genius. Well, not many of them, but one or two were. And this is the whole depressing thing. Labour will cave in to the unions. And you can understand why, because the unions are the midwife of the Labour Party. It's as simple and straightforward as that. But it's not going to help the passengers.
But,
well, you say that, but some of the reasons for the strikes are to do with retaining managers on trains, retaining staff on trains, support. That does help the passengers. Passengers want that.
It is an important job as well. I mean, train managers are in charge of security, collecting fares, customer service. It's not the easiest job. No. The idea that £300 for a whole day on your day off when you already work 41-hour week, but it's not a crazy salary.
It's about fairness, isn't it? What these train managers are saying is that when we can't do it, Avanti will bring in other people where they're getting paid a lot more than they're suggesting we will get paid. It's about fairness, and I thought the very fundamentals and values of this country are fairness and equality. So they have the right.
Of course, but Kate hit the nail on the head, and that is it's a lack of recruitment, because all the train companies under-recruit, underman. That's where you've got the problem. Have a recruitment campaign.
This is a good point.
We can do that. We won't have this problem. Well, as bad as it is.
But then how do we make that point? And how do train drivers make that point? I guess striking is one of the ways you can do it.
And when we do deals with the unions, Government does. Let's have productivity.
But you
all this
also
money was given away.
You also recruit by making the job attractive, and I think only 12% of Avanti staff said that they were happy in their job. So there is a problem there with staff retention.
Yeah, all right. 45 grand a year is not.
Both, we'll have to leave it
We
there.
asked you at home what you thought of this. Since police workers are banned from striking, should rail workers also face a ban from striking? 65% said yes, they agreed with Jerry. 35% said no. Wow. Interesting. I mean, you'd think in a way the split might be stronger in Jerry's favour, so it shows that actually people do still have some sympathy.
So it was a debate worth having after all.
And I was going to say what Avanti had to say, but anyway.
Here we go. Let me just read this out, shall we? Avanti West Coast said, we're disappointed by the RMT calling strike action on the 2nd of January. Our customers will face significantly disrupted journeys as a result, and I would like to thank them for their patience and understanding.
And Mick Lynch, who you mentioned, Jerry, RMT General Secretary, said Avanti West Coast created this dispute by ignoring train managers' concerns and presenting officers those members deemed unacceptable. The company must come forward with a revised proposal so they can avoid more strike action further into 2025. So they're obviously hoping that something can be sorted.
Absolutely.
So it's not that level of disruption all the way till May. Thank you to both of you.